Hi, welcome to the Leadership Help Desk. Today our topic is still on total quality management, but the concept of management is the most important profession on the planet. A lot of people would say teachers, doctors, and whatnot, but most of those teachers and doctors have managers, and those managers have the ability to crush spirits or raise spirits. Now, we look at the 85-15 rule. Deming, who I wish was more popular these days because he has such great concepts, said that when anything goes wrong, 85% of the time it is due to management and the system. 15% of the time, the blame would go to the employees. The older he got, the higher that number got. And he said 96% of the time when something goes wrong, it's due to management, not the employees. The employees now only get 4% of the blame. Now this fascinates me. Why the heck would he say that 96% of the time if something goes wrong, it's due to management? Wow, I'm so used to hearing, the employees don't want to do this, they screwed up, they don't care. Well, all of those things go back to management. So when we look at management as the most important profession on the planet, we look at what is management in control of. What does management do? Well, if you're a first-time manager, you might think, or if you just ask somebody on the street, what does a manager do? Well, they're in charge of the operation. Yeah, they're in charge of the operation. They're in charge of the restaurant. They're in charge of hiring. They're in charge of training. HR stuff, right? Yeah, that sounds right. They're in charge of processes. If it's manufacturing, the line. If it's a hotel, the check-in, check-out, cleaning of the rooms, all of that, the booking. They're in charge of the equipment. At a restaurant, they're in charge of the equipment. Paying the bills, that's a good one. A good manager always pays the bills. Pays the salaries, they're in charge of salaries. They're in charge of a budget. Managers are in charge of a budget. The product and the service design. Sometimes if it's if you're way up there, yeah, you're in charge of that. But that's not a complete list, folks. If you're a new manager and you think this is all you're in charge of, got another thing coming for you. So what else would a manager be in charge of? What makes up this 96%? Oh my goodness me. What about culture? The organizational culture, the workplace culture. Doesn't that matter? Well, you'd say if the employees don't care, well, why don't they care? Well, they work in a toxic culture or a lazy culture. Managers in charge of standards. They're in charge of employee morale. They're in charge of employee satisfaction. Wow, the employees don't care. Why don't they care? Well, maybe they're treated bad. It could even be abuse. A lot of workplace abuse is out there. What about self-esteem? Aren't they in charge of the employee's self-esteem? In other countries, the workplace isn't as important to the worker. For some reason, I've witnessed it, where, I'll just get another job, who cares? I'm sure some of that goes on in America too, but the typical American worker identifies with their work as their self-esteem. We could say their self-esteem outside of the workplace, and we have workplace self-esteem. But it's important. If people are depressed about work, they go to work depressed, they're not going to care. So a manager is in charge of that. What about a sense of belonging? Do the employees feel like they belong to a team? We could even put team spirit. What about customer satisfaction? I'm running out of room. Now, anybody who's had a job, they go home, they've had a bad day. The boss didn't give them attention. Do I have that yet? Didn't give them attention. Communication. Shucks, man. Now we're getting close to, sorry about that. Getting closer to 96%, right? But you get home from work, you've had a bad day. Nobody communicated with you. They alienated you. They didn't make you feel like you belonged. We do have training here. Hopefully you're good at what you do to some degree. But then we have the spouse or the partner or the family. I can even put that management is in control of the spouse's mood. What about the dog? Did the dog get kicked on the way home? It's crazy. I do not have up here values, priorities. A lot of times those get screwed up and it's all mixed up and it confuses people. So I could put employee frustration up here. Depression. Heart disease. Come on, the list goes great. Come on. If this is not a complete list. Why did Deming say 96%? It makes you think. Customer satisfaction, is that up here? Well, how do you get customer satisfaction? You get employee satisfaction. You get employees that are trained, trusted, they belong. For those of you that have seen Maslow's hierarchy, a lot of it's right here. Self-actualization, achievement, growth, all of these things. Management is in charge of 96% of things. When things go wrong, management gets the blame 96% of the time. Now, when you say that, that's the end, right? That's where the article's left off. I spent years looking at, reading tons of articles on this stuff, and that's where it left off. But then you wonder why CEOs get paid so much. Well, some of them get paid a lot while they're failing, or after they bankrupted the place, they get the golden parachute. But when you think about it, kind of like a football coach or a sports coach, if they win, the coach kind of gets the credit too, you know, because they had the culture right. They maintained standards and expectations. Employee morale was high, employee satisfaction. There was no abuse. Self-esteem was high. Oh, sorry, I got morale twice. People felt like they were on a team and they belonged, they were cared for, and they got the job done. So, can we say management is the most important profession on the planet? I think so. Because they can pull things down so much, or they can raise things up and get things done. So I hope this is meaningful to you, especially the new managers out there. I know it's a lot to take on, but you got to get a smile on people's faces, or you're not going to have happy customers. You're not going to have quality products. It's not just about the operational production kinds of things. It's the people that you got to get on board so we can be successful and serve the customer. So I hope you like this. Welcome to the Leadership Help Desk, and we're trying to get closer to purity in management and stop making our own problems. I hope you like this. And, you know, you might call it purity in management. This is kind of purity in management over here. This is the purity in leadership. So if you liked it, I hope you subscribe. I've got a ton of concepts to cover, and give a clickety click to the like button. And please share this message with people who need to hear this. We have a ton of bad managers out there. We got good ones, but I think they just don't understand that it's not just the hard stuff that they're in charge of. It's the soft skills. Anything else? I hope you liked it. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.